A dramatic turn of events is unfolding in Kogi State as armed bandits who have terrorized communities across the region are now pleading for peace, but the state government has firmly shut the door on any negotiation. The message from the authorities is crystal clear. There will be no deals with criminals, and military operations will continue until every last bandit is flushed out of their hideouts. This bold stance marks a significant shift in how Nigerian states are confronting the security crisis that has plagued the nation for years, and the people of Kogi are watching closely to see if this hardline approach will finally bring them the peace they desperately need. The situation began escalating when security forces launched intensive bombardment operations targeting bandit camps hidden in the forests and difficult terrains across Kogi State. These operations, which have been relentless according to recent reports, have put enormous pressure on the criminal groups who once operated with impunity. The bandits, finding themselves cornered and suffering significant losses, have reportedly sent emissaries to the state government seeking dialogue and offering to lay down their arms in exchange for amnesty. But Governor Usman Ododo's administration has made it absolutely clear that the time for talking is over. The state government insists that these criminals have caused too much pain, displaced too many families, and destroyed too many lives to deserve mercy at this point. What makes this development particularly interesting is the contrast with approaches taken in other parts of Nigeria, where negotiations and amnesty programs have been attempted, with mixed results. Kogi State appears to be taking a page from a different playbook entirely, one that says criminal behavior deserves punishment, not negotiation. Security analysts have pointed out that this uncompromising position could serve as a test case for other states grappling with banditry, and many Nigerians are watching to see whether the iron fist approach succeeds where dialogue has failed elsewhere. The bombardment campaign itself represents a coordinated effort involving multiple security agencies working in tandem to dismantle the bandit infrastructure across the state. Reports indicate that the operations have destroyed several camps, seized weapons, and forced many criminals to flee their strongholds. Local communities in affected areas have expressed relief that the government is finally taking decisive action, though some residents remain cautious, knowing that cornered criminals can become even more desperate and dangerous. The state government has assured citizens that adequate measures are in place to protect civilian areas while the military operations continue, and there have been increased security patrols in vulnerable communities. The bandits' plea for mercy reveals just how effective the pressure campaign has been. These are individuals who previously felt untouchable, who kidnapped for ransom, rustled cattle, and terrorized entire villages without fear of consequences. Now they find themselves on the defensive, seeking a way out of a situation that has turned decisively against them. Their requests for peace talks have been accompanied by promises to abandon criminality and return to normal life, but Kogi State government is not buying it. Officials have stated publicly that accepting such overtures would only embolden criminals elsewhere and send the wrong message about accountability and justice. This hardline stance has generated significant discussion across Nigeria. Supporters of the government's position argue that bandits have had countless opportunities to choose lawful livelihoods and that their current predicament is entirely of their own making. They point to the trauma inflicted on countless families, the economic disruption caused by insecurity, and the erosion of trust in government when criminals appear to operate with impunity. On the other hand, some voices have raised concerns about the potential for a humanitarian crisis if the bombardment continues without offering any exit pathway for those who genuinely wish to surrender, and there are questions about what happens to bandits who might want to give up but have no clear mechanism to do so safely. The broader context of this confrontation cannot be ignored. Nigeria has been wrestling with various forms of banditry, insurgency, and armed criminality for over a decade, with different states and the federal government trying various strategies, from military action to amnesty programs to community policing initiatives. The results have been inconsistent, and public frustration with insecurity remains high. Kogi State's decisive rejection of peace talks with bandits could mark a turning point in how Nigerian authorities approach these challenges, potentially influencing policy decisions far beyond the state's borders. If you are finding this information valuable and want to stay updated on important developments across Nigeria and beyond, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our coverage of stories that matter to you. As the situation in Kogi continues to develop, observers are paying attention to several key factors. First, whether the military operations can maintain their momentum and completely neutralize the bandit threat without causing significant civilian casualties or displacement. Second, whether the bandits will simply relocate to neighboring states with less aggressive security postures, potentially spreading the problem rather than solving it. And third, how this approach affects the psychology of criminal groups in other regions who might be calculating their own risk-reward scenarios. The coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether Kogi State's uncompromising approach becomes a model for others to follow or a cautionary tale about the complexities of security operations. What remains certain is that the people of Kogi are tired of living in fear, tired of seeing their loved ones kidnapped, and tired of watching criminals operate as though they are above the law. The government's refusal to negotiate represents their frustrations and their demand for decisive action. Whether this strategy ultimately succeeds in bringing lasting peace will depend on sustained commitment, adequate resources, and the ability to address the underlying conditions that allowed banditry to flourish in the first place. The story is still unfolding, and we will continue monitoring developments closely to bring you the latest information as it becomes available.